Now shift gears to a different conversation, and it's about the 8th International Interdisciplinary and Inter-University Consortium that is slated, and of course we'll be having a conversation as pertaining to that to understand what more in relation to this and how different then this session will be from the others that have been conducted prior. Dr. Henry Atich, Conference Chair and Principal, College of Graduate Studies and Research, that is the Mount Kenya University, is here with us this morning, as well as a Senior Lecturer, Mount Kenya University, Dr. Felista Wangoinjeru, to enlighten us on what to expect in this. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for creating a time. Before we delve into the details of what this 8th consortium will be about, just what is it all about, a roundup from the very first edition to this 8th one?
Okay, thank you, Linda. I think to start us off is to appreciate that this is the 10th year that this consortium has been in existence. We commenced the establishment of this consortium in 2013, and it started with the first conference, which was held at Mount Kenya University. And it brings together like-minded universities in Africa so that we can be able to forge the way forward in terms of ensuring that research informs policy and also addresses socioeconomic challenges. Yes.
All right. In your own way, what would you say the consortium is and the entire process of the conference?
Well, the consortium brings together 5 universities.
5. They have to be 5
universities.
Okay.
No, they don't have to be 5, but right so now there are 5.
Okay, for this time round.
Yes.
Okay.
And the main aim is to bring in the academia, because normally the academia are involved in research. It is always that the output of the research will broadcast out there, will cascade to the relevant stakeholders, so that the policymakers can learn from what has been researched, the output of the research. They can implement the output, and also the academia can learn from each other. Basically, that is the basis for the consortium.
All right. Okay, so Dr. Yatich, what would be the theme and as well the main point focus?
At the time that we are faced by quite a number of challenges, socio-economic, socio-political, and even in the framing of the theme for this conference, that was put into account. And that's why we are looking at participatory leadership in innovation for sustainable economies. And the reason for that is informed by the fact that prior to the end of last year, we had the African Union, the EU innovation agenda. And this is informed also by the national research priorities, National Commission for Science, Technology and Innovation. So putting all this together, the committee felt that even in holding this conference, because again, the point is, why are we holding this conference? And it is because we are living at a time that we feel that also research can play a part. And with this research output, the findings from this research, which both includes the final findings and probably the baseline surveys, are normally used either by researchers to build more research outputs, and those that are at the tail end are used by policymakers to maybe inform policy decisions, not just with government, but also with institutions, manufacturing, and probably other institutions that also may be that are involved in this conference. Because again, the point is that we are running a multidisciplinary conference. So this brings together people from the health sector, it brings people from academia, it brings people from businesses, it brings people from the political arena, and so forth. So we are trying to see if we can bring all these people together so that we can be able to chart the way forward in informing the current dynamic challenges affecting us, not just in Kenya, but in Africa and the global society. Yes.
10 years and counting. You say this is the 8th edition. It was probably not conducted because of COVID-19.
Yes.
And here we are. You give us reasons that are enough for us to say that it is worth a consortium. But then again, are there notable milestones that have been witnessed over years, and specifically to this one that is supposed to be held in 2023, that would say is the reason as to why it keeps going and is bound to keep going?
Yeah, I can comment on that. There are a number of milestones. Of course, there are research outputs that have been implemented. We're dealing with, if I just concentrate on what we're doing right now, we're talking about participatory leadership. When we have that discussion, it touches on everybody's lives. Why are we having issues today? It is because of bad leadership. So we bring the other entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
These are concerns to every society, and our key point focus is on economic development, creating sustainable economies. And I must say that these are concerns for everybody. So those are milestones that keep going. If we go back, we have had other conferences. We have brought in the issue of peace discussions, security discussions, the climate change, and those are milestones that we can really boast of, creating awareness to the society, to the policymakers, to the policy implementers, and that as our foundation really tells us that we are really moving forward.
Yeah.
Because even when we bring in the policymakers, in our conference we shall have somebody from Coast, for example, somebody from an NRF. These are the funders of the research. And when we bring them to our forums, they see the importance of funding the right areas in research, so that finally we are able to put the right innovations, the right knowledge, we are able to create the knowledge transfer forums, and that way we are really able to reach the broader society, both locally and internationally.
And there's a clear involvement of lots of stakeholders, I realize, including those ones that are funding the program. Just what is the relationship, between the partners themselves? You're talking about 5 universities this time around. Perhaps it would grow next year into a bigger number, or sometimes it could. What is the relationship like in terms of, growth and, making the best of this aspect of partnership?
I think just picking from where she stopped, I also want to add that I think one of the notable milestones is also the establishment of the consortium journal.
Yeah.
So I think towards the end of 2018, the consortium felt that out of the outputs of these conferences, we need to have our own journal. So we already have a journal. I think this year we've just had it indexed, and we obtained the DOI. So that's also another milestone, because how do we emphasize the proceedings of this conference after the conference? So we are going to publish that. Yeah. But picking up also from the question you've just asked, in terms of what are the roles and maybe the support from the partners. Yeah. She mentioned about 5 universities. So we have University of Eldoret, we have Chukwuemeka Edumeku University from Nigeria, University of from Sierra Leone. This is a new kid in the block. Okay. Initially we were 4, they just joined us this year. And then we have University of, we have Mount Kenya University. And then I think that makes...
There's one more.
There's one more. And we feel that in this consortium, since the conference is rotating every year, the support that these partners give to one another is not just limited to the conference, because we also do collaborative research agreements. We do partnerships in terms of bidding for grants and exchange programs. So you'll find, for example, MQ currently has an exchange program with Vincent Paul University, where students go there, the students here, and then they start intercultural sharing between the 2 universities, in as much as also our own faculty go there to give some lectures. So I think, to me, we are looking at a prospective future where we are going to also attract more universities into the consortium. Okay. And with that, my bet is that we are going to build this consortium more. Because even now we are trying to attract more friends from Europe, and we believe we are going to expand that.
And you speak about the funding aspect of it, perhaps to understand some more on the aspect of support for this university conference and the incorporation of other universities. Is it that then they also come in to fund the program?
Yes, there is that agreement between the partners. We have an MOU, and every university normally contributes some money around, for now, it's around 100,000, which is supposed to cater for the secretariat, because the secretariat runs throughout. After our conference,
yes. Okay.
After our conference, we expect that the papers will be published. It is the secretariats that will put in all the effort, all the processes to ensure that the papers are published in our journal. The secretariat right now is based in the University of Eldoret, and it is under the leadership of Professor Ferej. He's one Professor Ferej. Right now, the chairman of the consortium is the Vice Chancellor of Chambogo University in Uganda.
Right.
The leadership also rotates between the universities. After this conference, the one that we are holding now, the leadership will be, the mantle of the leadership will be passed to our VC, Mount Kenya University VC, Professor Janganyi.
Yeah.
And every time the hosting university is the one that takes the leadership for 1 year until the next conference. So the universities fund, but let me say that for the conference organization, the hosting university is the one that funds almost 100%. Yes.
So the
Conference secretariat always
does all round, and so that means it involves students as well.
Yes.
Okay.
We also do have students participating in the conference, and other than considering this an hybrid conference, so we have on-site delegates and then virtual delegates.
Okay.
And this depends on maybe also the distance and maybe cost for the delegates.
Okay.
So in terms of participation, we have partnered with a few hotels in Thika. Allow me to mention them. Palais Hotel, they are giving us discounted rates for our delegates.
Okay.
Great St. Louis Hotel, Maxan Hotel. We also have Cabinet Hotel. So all these are the local hotel partners that we normally work with during our conferences, and they give our delegates subsidized rates. In terms of logistics, is that we have good arrangements. Our delegates, if they are flying in, then they are picked from the airport to their hotels.
Okay.
During the conference days, we have provision for transport also that caters for their movement from the hotel to the venue in the morning and in the evening. Because again, looking at this conference this time around, I would want to say that looking at the diversity of the delegates, we are glad that we, even after post-COVID, because we are basically after the COVID period, and we're getting people coming in from Poland. The USA delegates are participating online. We're getting some people coming from South Africa. We're getting delegates from Estonia. We're also getting delegates from Rwanda. And then, of course, the partner universities, consortium, Nigeria, Uganda, and of course, our own country. Okay.
And so what is there to look forward to, especially when you speak of the delegates and how special and different it could be? Perhaps any guest speaker to look forward to, because most of the people will tell you that they're excited of such, based on the individuals that will be addressing, them during the consortium, and what is to carry home for them, Dr. Njeri.
Yes, we have exciting speakers, the guests. We have the chief guest from Nakosti, and she'll be visiting and speaking to us on the first conference at around 11:30. And we also have other guests. We have the guests from NRF, and they are of interest. Yeah. Remember, these are the bodies that control research in Kenya. For example, Nakosti You cannot do research without their letter, their application.
Yeah.
So this is very key to the academia especially, because they will, I believe they will articulate even the processes and their requirements. Then from NRF, very important as well, by NRF, and which kind of research interested in. I'm sure that will be very interesting. Okay. Not only the academia, even other people, because basically looking for knowledge is not how can I say? It is not something that really should be owned by the academia only. Everybody is interested, and anybody, even the society outside there, other stakeholders will be interested to hear what they are going to say, and especially during this time that there are so many changes. If we look at our sub-theme, cross-board, we are talking about the climate change. We interested to know what those guests will say about it. They are talking about even health, welfare. Yeah. What are they going to say about it? What is about the issue of education? Right now we are talking about the CBC. Everybody wants to understand about it. So I'm sure the guests that we have, apart from the guests NRF and NACOST, we have other people who are going to us. Yeah. The VC from Chambogo University, he's a wise man, he's a learned man, would be interested to hear what he's going to say about this. And of course, the researchers that have prepared their papers, I'm sure they have researched well. They are going to present interesting facts. So we are really looking forward to receiving our delegates across the world and sharing our knowledge.
Great. Yeah. So as we look forward to that, certainly people are excited about what's likely to play out the next year. For those ones that will miss out on this, the beauty of it is that virtually they can engage.
Yes, they
Is it limited or it's open as well for all? It's open, yeah, for all the students. So what to look forward for in the 9th edition, even as you tell us what to expect on your end?
Okay, I think maybe before we look at our next conference, just to pick up from what she said, we have Professor Walter Oya from NACOST. Yeah. And NACOST is the research institution that runs NRF and Kenya National Innovation Agency. And for you to carry out research in Kenya, you have to be cleared by NACOST. So you find that most of the research outputs in this conference from the Kenyan researchers, it has to go through NACOST. So NACOST is a key stakeholder in terms of research. When we talk about NRF is funding 7 of our staff members for research activities for the individual and interdisciplinary, and 7 PhDs and 5 PhD students, to the tune of about, I think, more than 300 million. So the reason why we are bringing them on board is because also we are looking at more engagements with them. And, of course, again, panel sessions, we are growing speakers from different countries. So for all the speakers who are going to come, we'll have somebody from Vincent Paul, we'll have somebody from Nigeria, we'll have somebody from South Africa in the panel. And these are interesting panels. Participants are able to ask questions and engage the panelists. In terms of our next conference, we are looking at it will be held in Nigeria, Chukwuemeka Odumeko University. Okay. And I think for all the viewers and the delegates and participants who are going to attend, I think it will be an engaging and an informative session, so that even after the conference, we are going to forge more partnerships and engagements within the delegates themselves. So the delegates should know that it's not just about the conference, but they can be able to get new partners. Even in terms of grant writing, in terms of university collaboration and exchange programs, this can be moved forward, or this can be developed even by building new networks when they attend the conference.
Great.
This is also not to forget that we have a dinner where all these people are going to network.
This is an activity of how many days and from when to when?
From 29th to 31st, 3 days.
Yes, 29th, 3 days.
Yes, that is from tomorrow, actually, all the way to Friday.
It begins to All day?
Yes, and we shall have cocktail. We shall have dinner. So we create a forum for networking.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go out there and network. They say, I mean, social capital is key to growth, as well as, you know, your network, they say, is your net worth. So definitely, this is the moment to learn and network. Thank you so much, doctors, that is Felista Ongoi, as well as Henry Yatich, for the great insights. And in case one would want to join in and all that, how do they?
To participate.
Yes,
you're all welcome.
Yeah.
It will be open. It's hybrid. You can join online. You can as well come physically to Mwai Kibaki Center, Convention Center in MKU, Thika, and we shall be glad to receive you. And I'm sure you will learn a lot.
All right.